interviewed her, and she was really nice, but there's not much of her now, is there?
No,
it's a lot
I
of
think that
years
might
past.
have been in the area where they kind of matched a person with a song, you know.
Right.
Not quite
matched
stock,
a person
not,
with a song.
yeah,
Like a boy
but you
band
know,
thing, like,
yeah,
you know,
more like
romantic
this,
stuff.
more like in the Stop Aiken and Waterman area, do you know, like Sonia,
Oh, yeah.
and I know she's a bit.
Did you come in from a
that.
Saturday night watching that, did you? You put on the TV?
No, I didn't really.
Do you know, what was it?
I didn't. I know I'd be
Hitman
lying.
and Her, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'd be lying. I don't think I watched it. I think I was into more.
Too tired?
Into music that wasn't on that show.
All right.
Do you know
What kind of music were you back into then?
It just wasn't.
What kind of
it
stuff?
wasn't Kylie and Jason and.
But so that was all the go then, wasn't it?
You know.
What kind of stuff were you into?
You know yourself. Different music.
Oh, I don't know myself.
Cooler music.
Cooler music.
Cooler biller.
All right. How's that go? Hum it there. That's drum and bass, is it?
Probably something like that. But anyway, no, that was a good track.
Yeah.
What's your plans for today, Lee?
Oh, no gym today, so I'm kind of gym free today. And I want to go and
How
get
often do you go to the gym?
4 times a week.
4.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Fair play.
It's only an hour, right?
Oh, fair play.
Come on, many hours. See, I would try to encourage people to do a bit of exercise, and I haven't really
I
given
think
you
people
the.
should.
Well, we shouldn't use the word "should" because then you think, you know, it's a kind of negative thing to it. But do you know how many hours in a day?
Yeah, I don't want to get on this
24
route.
hours in a day.
Really
How many hours in the
really
week?
not
There's
interested in
100 and
preaching
something,
to me, But I
60
don't want to
something.
go to the gym.
Well, so what do you want to do then? But you
Rely on
want.
genetics.
But as we get
I'm
older,
just putting all my money in genetics.
what's
Like
genetics?
you're one of these boys that thinks that your life is shorter if you live in a bungalow rather than a 2-story house.
No, but as we get older, we do need a bungalow. Who wants to be going upstairs? But then I was
But my
chatting
point is,
to Councillor.
apparently, if you climb 5 flights of stairs a day, it adds 7 years to your life.
Right, 5 flights. That's up and down the stairs, right?
But
A
if you
few
live in a
times
bungalow, apparently if you're in a bungalow, your life expectancy is lower than if you live in a 2-story house.
Are you making that up, are you? No.
You were about to waffle on about why we should all go to the gym. You know what?
What?
Shove it.
Shove the gym. I'd be
No,
saying
you're
that
right.
to you in 10.
You're
No, but
right.
it's only like a few hours
Just
a
get
week.
for a
So
walk,
what
isn't
is it? It's good for the head, but there's a social thing to it.
Great,
as
I'll
well.
visit you when you're getting your hip replaced.
No, I'll not be
Yeah.
getting no hip replaced, let me
you
tell you.
won't.
No, I'm going to keep mooching on.
Right.
Right.
I'm only joking. Stay healthy, stay fit, go to
We'll
the
do
gym.
our very
All right,
best,
okay.
won't we?
But you know what? Be you, do you. And let
Never
me do
float
me.
your boat.
Do me.
Isn't it?
Good luck.
Do you know? Good luck to you too.
Bye. All right, I'm going to jokingly. It's 9 o'clock. Let's get a news update. It's over to Donal.
Thank you very much indeed, Greg. €1.5 million been approved for the Letcher Brick Water Supply Project in Cloughan. Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher says following multiple meetings, Junior Environment Minister Christopher O'Sullivan has approved the funding. He says it'll deliver a permanent solution for more than 50 households that have experienced poor water quality and unreliable supply for far too long. Deputy Gallagher says for 15 to 20 years, families in the area have relied on private wells, springs and small shared supplies. This scheme, he says, will improve their needs as well as supporting future housing developments in that area.
It's good news for the 50 households in the Letcher Brick area who have had inadequate water supply, particularly during dry periods, outages lasting weeks, poor water quality because they were depending on wells in that area. So it was wrong that they didn't have it, but now thankfully it has been approved.
The Garda Commissioner says it will be unrealistic to expect Ireland to get through its 6 months presidency of the European Union without facing some form of serious incident. Ireland formally assumes the rotating EU presidency today, with more than 250 events involving European leaders and officials due to take place across the country. The policing and security operation for the presidency is the largest ever undertaken by the state. The national threat level remains at moderate. Commissioner Justin Kelly says Gardaí have spent years preparing for the threats and challenges that could emerge.
Our national threat assessment at the moment remains at moderate. However, we have done threat and risk assessment firstly for the whole EU presidency, so we've done one for the whole EU presidency, and then for every single event we do a separate risk assessment for that. And not unlike some of the previous EU presidencies, I mean, it would be highly surprising if there isn't some really challenging incident for us to deal with during that presidency.
Jigsaw says it's cut waiting times for young people seeking mental health support in half, despite a sharp rise in demand. The National Youth Mental Health Charity received more than 11,000 referrals last year, the highest number in its history. Referrals have risen by a further 33% so far this year. Donegal's Jigsaw base is at Pierce Road in Letterkenny, with calls for outreach services to be developed elsewhere in the county given its size. Jigsaw's CEO, Dr. Joseph Duffy, is warning that long-term funding will be needed if access to services is to be further improved.
We've got to to the stage now where we have an early intervention service, or we will have by the end of this year, for about 72% of young people. Having 100% coverage of an early intervention youth mental health service is within reach. And so I think to be able to invest in youth mental health, it wouldn't take that much, but being able to do that and to focus on early intervention is going to make a huge difference.
Mostly cloudy this morning with rain or drizzle developing, more persistent rain during the evening. It'll become breezy as light to moderate southwesterly winds increase moderate to fresh and gusty strong at times. Top temperatures today 15 or 16 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
The talk of the Northwest, the Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It's Wednesday. It's the first of a brand new month, July 1st, 2026, 4 minutes past 9. As I said to Lee earlier in the week, the Mortgage Credit Union, this is the day. Oh, well, anyway, what are you going to do? If you're lucky enough to be able to cover those debts, I suppose you can't complain too much. But anyway, how's your month going so far? We're 10 hours into it. The lines are open for you right now if you want to get involved in the conversation. We've got lots of interesting stuff lined up, by the way. But also, we love to get your communications. If you want to raise an issue, pass on a message. Requests as well, by the way. We have a wee slot just after 10 o'clock where we love to play your requests. Oh, we do it throughout the day, but we tend to find it works for us best at 10. Whatever you want to do in terms of contact, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. And your emails, more than welcome into us, and it is comments at highlandradio.com. And just to invite you to watch the show if it suits you, we're on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, across your mobile devices, and on your Fire Stick and Smart TV as well, and on Facebook and X. Right, the Finn Valley Voice out this morning. Primary school pupils shouldn't have smartphones. They should build friendships face-to-face, play outdoors, and grow their imaginations before entering the dark and dangerous online world. Proven online risks include explicit content, predators and extortionists, cyberbullying, self-harm and addiction. But Donegal, I read, is the perfect place to begin tackling the smartphone menace, says Miss Nina Carberry, one of our local MEPs at Brussels. Ms Carberry made her remarks while hosting representatives of It Takes a Village, a Greystone-based community which has instituted a voluntary ban on smartphone use in primary schools. Indeed. I mean, my views on that are mixed. I don't know what yours are. The evidence from Australia is bans don't work. I think phones out of schools, definitely. Out of national school, certainly. But, sometimes it can be 5th, 6th year. Secondary school, definitely get rid of the smartphones. But to think that we're going to get rid of this native technology from young people, they were born into it. I remember my first it wasn't even a smartphone, my first flip phone, an 088, same number as I have today, bar one digit. And then I've seen the evolution of it, and I've started with Snake, and then, it is where it's at now. That's fine. I'm an older person. I saw its introduction. Younger people now are born into it. It is their native technology. It's an extension of them. So I don't know if we're ever going to take phones out of their hands. I think it's the path of least resistance, as tough as it is. I think the truth is we just have to make it a safer place for kids so they can be with their friends, but the technology can flag certain language and all that kind of stuff. That's the future. I don't know why we don't just do that. I don't know why we just don't focus on that. We're not going to get rid of phones. Parents want the kids to have their phones. You can tell where your kid is. You can see what they've been on in terms of the internet or what have you, or what apps they've downloaded. All those controls are already there. And parents want to be able to contact their children now if they're maybe off at their father's or whatever it might be, whatever your personal circumstances, you want to be able to stay in touch with them. So banning them for under 16s, people are going to circumnavigate that. Anyway, let's just make it a safer place and be done, I think, at this point. And this is just my opinion that I've formed over the last while, is I find the conversation about an all-out ban is a waste of time. We're not doing what we could be doing. But certainly out of schools, any schools, I think would be really advantageous. Oh, here's an attack on rural Ireland. This is what it feels like anyway. And I think this is kind of an interesting attitude into Dublin thinking, because now they're trying to figure out what's the best way to cut, to raise revenue, maybe to change how people use their vehicles and all that type of stuff. So I'll read the story. It's from the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council, which is a very important organisation that has the ear of government. The introduction of distance-based road charges should be considered once tax revenue on petrol and diesel starts to fall, a financial watchdog has said. IFAC said it's crucial the government phases in alternative revenue sources to compensate for the loss of taxes from fossil fuels. The move towards electric vehicles means the amount of exchequer raises from taxing cars and lorries running on petrol and diesel will fall significantly, even if no further action is taken to combat climate change. The government must devise a strategy to replace the lost revenue in order to maintain fiscal sustainability, they said. Congestion charges or levies for using the road based on distance, time and location should be considered. Now, we have to drive wherever we go in this county, for an example, in a lot of rural Ireland. This is really maybe to encourage people on the bus to choose A, cycle, B, scoot, C, Lewis, D, buses, E, walk if you like. How in God's name are we going to get about? So we're going to end up the rural Ireland, as far as I'm concerned, with less infrastructure. We're going to end up doing the heavy lifting on it. Reading on here, they should not be introduced too quickly or in ways that could derail climate policy, such as by deterring motorists from switching to EVs. One way to do this is by beginning with proxy charges, which are based on odometer readings or the weight of vehicles, and establish the principle of paying for road use. So again, if it's on the weight of vehicles, a lot of you would have a dual purpose vehicle to tow a trailer, to whatever it might be that you have to do it for work. So the suggestions from the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council, to be honest with you, kind of feels like a little bit of an attack on rural life, I think some people could say. What do you think? This has been floated before, but it doesn't consider what life in rural Ireland is like, and it concerns me that this is the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council's advice to government. It just feels like out of touch with Ireland. It sounds to me like a group of people around a table in Dublin that don't consider what happens or what life is like outside the pale. What do you think? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. I think we all know, don't we, whether we like it or not. I think there was a time when there was discussions about VAT rates on hotels, hospitality, food effectively coming from 13.5 down to 9%. There was a time where people would go, we don't see that change in the menu. They're not reducing the price. Well, whether we like it or not, the reality is this 4.5% VAT cut is to make it more affordable or profitable for these companies to be in business. And make no mistakes, we can complain about the price of lunch or the price of dinner. We have a choice whether we engage with them or not, or the price of hotels, bedrooms, or whatever it might be. But those are very important businesses. Most of our children, or many of our children, or ourselves, either work in them or have worked in them. And if they're gone, they're gone. And I know people in the industry, and they genuinely are not gouging up here. They're genuinely trying to keep the doors open, keep the lights on, keep the heating on all year round, not just the busy summer months when we might want to stay in them. But restaurants and other businesses benefiting from VAT rate reductions that took effect yesterday are not expected to pass the cut on to customers. Taoiseach Simon Harris and Minister for Enterprise Peter Burke have said. The Fine Gael politician said the measure, which involved a permanent cut in the rate charged on food in restaurants, bars and hotels from 13.5% to 9%, was intended to bolster the viability of businesses by addressing what were, in many cases, unsustainable profit margins. And I think that's a realistic assessment. I might get shot for saying this. The one thing it might do, it might defer increases. It might mean that a business that's in the food service industry might be able to hold off on price increases down the line if input costs increase. I don't know. But I think we all know, whether we like it or not, that we're not going to expect to see the prices tumble, are we? Irish Daily Mail. This is word from government, obviously, as the price of the price of the retail price of fuel comes down. Taoiseach Simon Harris has warned forecourts not to hit consumers with fuel price shocks when excise duty cuts expire at the end of this year. The government yesterday approved the extension of fuel price subsidies of up to 32 cents until September 1st, when the supports will begin to taper off. And speaking in Dublin, Mr Harris said he expects petrol stations will pass on their savings from falling oil prices to consumers, which would absorb any shock to motorists' pockets. The Fine Gael leader added, I heard Sinn Féin saying earlier this would result in diesel being above €2 by Christmas. Hang on a second, he said, and I'll go to page 4. If they stay where they're at between 73 and 74 a barrel, should we not actually be seeing the benefit of what be passed on to the consumer? And the truth be told, I did hear Pierce Doherty say that. I mean, at the moment, if all 32 cents were removed from petrol or diesel, it would still be under €2 if you shop around. So at the moment, say it's 27 cents on petrol. So if they removed it today, you can get petrol for $1.96, and on diesel, it's 32 cents. So if they remove that today, you could get it for $1.97. So already, even before we see further reductions, if you got rid of the government deductions at the moment, it would be under €2 and not above the €2, depending on where you are, of course. You can always go to the most expensive garage and it'd be $2.10, $2.15. But if you go to places where they're competitive, it would currently be $1.96 for petrol, $1.97 for diesel. Way, way, way too high. We need to see that come down 20 or 30 cents. But as I say, to say that it would be over €2 by Christmas, even now it's not over €2 if you are shrewd and have the ability to shop about. It's an interesting story from County Clare. More violence in an underage game. And the national media are framing it as something that's incredibly serious, and any attack on an official at a match is, but the official thankfully is okay and he's back refereeing again very soon. But Gardaí have launched an investigation after an alleged assault of a referee at an underage GEA match. The alleged incident took place during an under-15s match in Kilrush, County Clare at around 8:40pm Monday night. Officers said a man aged in his 50s and a teenager both sustained injuries following the alleged incident. Footage shared across social media shows a group of people on a pitch before an injured ref is picked up from the ground and helped away. A cutlet, by the way. Gardaí say they are aware of footage on social media and that investigations are ongoing. Clare GEA Chair Kieran Keating called the alleged assault a bitter step backwards. But, many of you listening attend underage games or football more generally. There are really stiff penalties. You can get banned for that type of an incident for, I think it's close on 50 weeks anyway, 46, 47 weeks. But it's doubled if it's at an underage game, and that's the minimum sanction as well too. But have you seen a difference in behaviour at underage games? I know at some levels they've taken the scoring out of it, the competitive nature of it. Like, are parents and, trainers and managers, better behaved at underage games now than they were in the past? Like, is that an outlying event, or when you go to a game, are you just expecting something to happen? I've kind of in my ears, it's ringing in my ears, our conversation yesterday with the local rep for Alzheimer's Ireland. They were looking for just €8 million to of a boost in funding from government to provide much better supports for people with early onset dementia, but also the care for people with dementia. It was a really small amount. I thought it was a small amount in the wider scale of things. And then you see how much money's being spent elsewhere, and it seems even smaller. How much for wine at the Oireachtas? I don't drink wine. Couldn't afford to at these prices. Some €400,000, almost €500,000. Some €400,000 will be splurged on keeping the Oireachtas stocked with its own brand wine. The Vino has been a big hit in the Dáil bar since it was launched at the end of 2013, accounting for 17% of all drinks revenue last year. A total of 4,351 glasses and 1,063 bottles were sold in the bar, as well as 2 cases at €180 each. Leinster House employees also availed of a staff discount to purchase 90 bottles at €12 each. Now, call me old-fashioned, and am I being a fuddy-duddy here? But I don't think there should be a bar there at all, really, to be truthful. I think they should have to go out and support businesses locally, and I think they're at work. and there shouldn't be a bar in the Dáil. Is that controversial? What do you think? If there was a referendum now, would you get rid of the bar, or am I just being a spokesman because there's no bar here at Highland Radio? What do you think? I don't know, 400 quid, 400,000 euro though, spending on wine. That's actually the biggest, but that's only 17% of all drinks sold. You know, you're at work. Focus on your work. I think it sets a bad, even if it's outside of work, at your lunch break, whatever. And people might say, but you're hosting dignitaries and all that kind of stuff. You're at work, and booze shouldn't be at work, and they shouldn't be boozing at a place of work, whether they're working at the time or not. I don't know. Why should they? As I say, maybe I'm just cranky today because of it being the first of the month. Now, horrible this, and I'm sorry if you're eating your brekkie, but a lot of complaints are made about food to the Food Safety Authority of Ireland, and some of it's mundane. Some of it's actually really quite serious, obviously, in terms of, you know, things that can cause serious harm to people. But others, it's just actually kind of sickening. Finding a hair in your dinner is enough to put most people off the meal. But what about biting into a cake to discover a fingernail? This was just one of the stomach-churning discoveries reported by Irish shoppers last year, according to new data revealed by the Food Safety Authority of Ireland. The watchdog dealt with thousands of complaints from consumers in 2025, with reports ranging from foreign objects in food to poor hygiene. Among the most shocking complaints investigated were a fingernail found in a cake, a battery discovered in a packet of almonds, however that got in there, a staple inside an Indian takeaway. Now, I presume that must be a staple clip. It couldn't be the whole bloody staple, could it? A fly floating in a bottle of milk, a slug in a noodle dish, that's disgusting, and a live moth inside a bag of salad. Wow, okay, so it had its own little ecosystem. My worst one, it was at home. It was at home years ago when I was a kid. A toasted sandwich, you know those sandwich makers. It was taken out of the cupboard, and there was a fly in the top. Thankfully, it was in the top of the sandwich, so I could see it. Is there any food disasters that you want to share? What's the worst thing you've found in your food? What's the thing that's disgusted you most in relation to that? Let me know on that, or anything else that you've heard there. Here's how you get in contact with us, and we really do love your messages on a Wednesday morning.
The Greg Hughes Show on Highland Radio. Text WhatsApp 086 60 25000. Call 074 91 25000 or email comments at highlandradio.com.
With the inter-county season now done for Donegal, the focus shifts to club action for the remainder of the season. This Wednesday, Highland Radio will broadcast the Donegal GAA Club Championship Draws 2026, live from Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure, Letterkenny. Join Oisín Kelly after the 7 o'clock news for details on all the draws this Wednesday evening on Highland Radio.
4 doors, 4 belts. That was only 3 clicks. Where's the last click? Someone isn't wearing their seatbelt. I need to ask him to put it on. But what if he laughs at me? What if the others take off their belts in solidarity? What if I don't ask him?
However bad you think asking will be, it's nothing compared to what could happen if you don't.
Would you mind wearing your seatbelt?
No problem, man. Asking your mates to wear a seatbelt won't kill you. Every time, every trip, everybody, belt up. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
McDade Bro CVRT Test Centre Lurgy Brack Letterkenny is open 6 days a week, including Saturdays. From small vans to large trucks and buses, McDade Bros have all your CVRT testing needs covered. They also install and calibrate tachographs. Keep your vehicle safe, compliant and roadworthy. Book today by calling 074 9121 005 or online at mcdadebros.ie. McDade Bro CVRT Test Centre, proudly serving Donegal since 1972.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
9:22. We're joined on the programme now by James Malloy, who's a Letterkenny businessman. Hi, James.
Hi, Greg. How's things?
Good. Thanks for joining us. So, you live and work on your premises. What's your business, James?
My business is a wee coffee shop just on the Port Road. There's Bros of Coffee, it's called.
Brilliant. Bros of Coffee, and it's on the Port Road. Is it open now?
Yeah, we're open now. Open at 8 o'clock every day there. So
Okay,
yeah,
good
we've a wee
stuff.
morning rush just after done.
Well, that's the ice cream. Now we have to get to the veggies, because you are being plagued by illegal dumping in and around your business, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So tell us the story.
Yeah, so we've been in business now for about 2 years, and I would have moved up to the town from Glenties. I'm from Glenties originally now, so I would have moved up about 2 years ago, and slowly started to notice it happening, and there's a bit of a trend there now, and I would have reached out for help there to the council a good few many times now, and the problem just seems to be getting worse and worse, and there's new bags just appearing every couple of weeks. There'll be a new addition to the pile here out the back of my shop, and Jesus, it's not very nice to look at, as you can imagine. And because I live here too, there's no getting away from it. So, it's always in view. And obviously, when you're running the business too, it's not very ideal to kind of have that going on, around the vicinity of your business. So, yeah, it's become quite a problem now recently.
Why do you think this is sort of like a hot spot? What's attracting people to use this as a dumping ground?
I think it's the fact that it's a very concealed space. It's not just dumping that goes on here. Like, all manner of things will go on behind here. It's a wee bit of a dark spot. For all sorts to be going on. So I think it's just the area itself. It's quite convenient to get rid of a few bags here, because there wouldn't be many eyes looking at this area most of the time. So I think it's a good place to do it, I would imagine. So that's what I'm thinking.
So, I mean, obviously, too, the surrounds of your coffee dock too are your business place, and you'd be subject to inspections like anyone else. Does it cause any issues for you in that regard?
Well, thankfully now we've never had any problems with that. We've had, obviously the routine inspections and that, and we've never had any problems there, thank God. But we're always on alert for looking out for this kind of thing, and it's always in the back of your mind that it could easily happen. And that there's every opportunity for that to develop, because the amount of pollution now and waste gathering at the back of my shop is just when it gets broken open then and gets scattered across the car park, and it's just not only is it an eyesore, but it will attract undesirable creatures as well.
It's really
which is
unfair
not
for you, because it's out of your control, and really you're forced to maintain it for the reasons that you mentioned. Obviously, it's unsightly, but also what it might attract to the area. So, and I think customers should understand, if they're listening as well, that's the problem. You're having to take this on yourself to make sure that you have a perfectly clean and well sanitized workspace.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's a major top priority for us, especially in when you're dealing with anything related to food or anything like that. You want to make sure that you want to kind of stand beside your product and make sure everything's going out good now. But yeah, no, it's just a constant worry for us now to kind of worry about it and try to maintain it as best we can.
Yeah, you're a business owner, of course, so you pay your rates the same as any other business does, and can and hopefully can expect the same level of service. So, what kind of interactions have you had with the council over the years? What are you getting back from them?
Yeah, so it's kind of goes like I'll make a phone call, and then it's always being transferred to a different department. And when I get to that different department, I've always been told to get a call back or something like that. But there's been many times where I've called and I haven't gotten anything back, and then I would have called back again, in a more stressed manner, and try to press the issue a bit more. And I've got a representative to call out to me and have a chat to me. But there wasn't much. There was one occasion where a lady from the EHO came over, the Environmental Health Office, and she had a look at it, and she organised for the whole place to be cleaned up. But then after that, it just slowly started to creep back into bags appearing, more rubbish. It was lifted, but then it was just, we're back to square one again here now. So, I don't know what it'll take to stop it.
Well, we'll talk about that. But you are on site, so you must have come across people in the act, and I'm just wondering, have you challenged them, or what was the interaction, or?
Yeah, I did. There was one time I seen a fella pulling away, and there was a couple of bags left there, and it's I can't determine 100% that it was him, but he looked a bit guilty now, kind of coming away, and I kind of approached him, and he drove away quite quickly, but there was 2 bags behind his car, whenever he left. So it's kind of it's hard to kind of keep watch all the time, but it's a lot of the time I find it's during the night time, that these things are appearing. So it's not the easiest to catch them every time, as you can understand.
Obviously, if there's illegal dumping like there would be anywhere, you'd expect the council to come up and clean it, etc. Is there anything else the local authority could be doing to stop this happening in the first instance? I don't know the exact layout of it, James, but is there anything that could be done in your view that would actually stop it rather than sort of chasing the litter all of the time, stop it appearing in the first place?
The only thing I could think of is to, because I think it's happening. It's not just my place now, Greg. I've been driving over Letterkenny and I see it happening all over the place. So I think they're inundated, and I think it's hard for them to approach this. But the only thing I could think of is to put cameras in hotspots and take registrations and follow up. An example needs to be made because I think they're doing it and they're getting away with it, and they're going to keep doing it as long as they are getting away with it. So I don't know if it's cameras that need to be put up or something like that, or I know it's probably not feasible, in the long run. But
I don't know. I think I wouldn't dismiss that either, because there was a ton of money announced not so long ago, and a lot of patting on the back about drone technology. And now it's not going to be a drone, right? Drone technology, mobile cameras, this type of stuff, right? This is perfect. If I were in the council, get one of these mobile cameras if they exist, stick it up. Also put signs up saying, illegal dumping prohibited, CCTV in operation. I know what I would do if I were you, but I don't want to give it away. I would be on Amazon buying a couple of dummy cameras if it were me and a sign. But anyway, but no, the local authority go in and get a win. This is like shooting fish in the barrel for them. Put one of these mobile cameras up if they actually exist. I've never heard tell of them, and make a couple of prosecutions and get it out there and show that this is what we're doing. We're keeping Letterkenny and the rest of the county clean, and support a business at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I know for a fact it wouldn't take them long to get some kind of result there, because it is very frequently.
Are you not half tempted to get yourself a Wi-Fi camera though, and
it's the next step.
100%. Like blur out the number plates in the first instance and say, look, if this keeps happening, I'm gonna. But that being said, you could be inviting something onto yourself as well, and all you want to do is just run a business, isn't it? Really, in a clean environment. Yeah. Right. Well, listen, we'll make our inquiries to the council to find out, what they've done with the communications that you've made to them in the past. As I say, this would be easier to address than dumping down a back lane in rural Ireland, which should never ever happen. But I'm saying this could be an easy win for the local authority. And as I say, they when they put the mind to it, and they often do, they're really, really good at this kind of stuff. All right, James. Well, listen, we'll make those inquiries, and we'll be in touch, of course. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Greg. Cheers.
All right, and Camille, just mention the business again. He's gone, has he? I was just about to give him a chance to plug his business, but he's away. Yeah, he's gone. He's hung up on me. Right. What was it again? Caroline? No, she's not listening to me. Right, okay. As I say, James is really quite pragmatic. He knows it's not just where he's at, but it's been going on for 2 years. Any views, let us know, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 07491 25,000. Hi, Greg. Looking for some advice if anyone has it. We had a flight with Ryanair Sunday past at 5:10 from Palma. We were loaded onto the plane, and then the baggage truck hit the plane. 2.5 hours later, we disembarked and told there was a delay until 10, then 11, and finally 1:45 in the morning. Checked onto the plane again, only to be turned again and told the flight might go at 12:15 Monday. We got a €4 voucher and were told to find our own accommodation. I booked us a flight with EasyJet for over €400 into Belfast City at 6:55 yesterday because I don't trust Ryanair. Hopefully we'll get the cost of the original flight back, but are we due any other compensation? We are a family with 2 young kids. It was a tough couple of days. I think I will just go down the country next year. Thanks. Yeah, well, it's a toughie. I'm not really sure. There is obviously European legislation that would protect you in that regard. It's whether or not these delays fall under that. Fall under that legislation. But what we'll do is we'll have a look at it. You can have a look at it yourself, but we'll have a look at it and see what the story is. As I say, if a flight is delayed, there is compensation, and it's made really easy as to how to retrieve it. I just only got sight of that, and I don't have the website open to double check, and I don't want to mislead you. But normally, I mean, you'd imagine there should be something there. Right, we'll be back in a moment.
It's a dream big lotto jackpot of an estimated €5.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
This summer, make the Bonington Hotel Dublin your destination for great music and a relaxing getaway. Enjoy some of Ireland's leading country and folk artists, including Robert Mizell, the Dublin City Ramblers, Sean Keane and Louise Morrissey. Why not make a midweek break of it? Enjoy bed and breakfast, dinner and show for just €159 per person. Book your place today by calling the Bonington Hotel Dublin on 01 837 3544 or visit boningtondublin.com. Bonington Hotel Dublin, where great entertainment meets great value.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books perfect to mark any occasion. Also, there's jigsaws, calendars, mugs and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
Thinking about a new 262 car? Then discover the latest Kia range at Heron Auto. Right now, there's never been a better time to upgrade. With finance starting from 0%, Kia's unbeatable 7-year warranty, and a free home charger when you order your new 262 Kia. Whether you're thinking electric, hybrid or petrol, the expert team at Heron Auto are ready to help you find the perfect fit. Visit the showroom today and drive into 262 with Kia at Heron Auto.
On the face of it, the emergence of electric scooters, there's a lot of positives. If you're around town and use them correctly, they're handy. Also for, younger people, I suppose 16 and over, providing the scooters match the legal requirements, it's an opportunity for them to, I suppose, to have a little bit of independence, maybe back and forward from a summer job. But every day we hear different stories. A very tragic story in the papers today. A teenaged boy who tragically died following an e-scooter incident has been named. He's Janice Ozols, aged just 17, and he was one of 2 teens who fell from an e-scooter while travelling on Carpenter's Way in Carlow Town at around 8:30 p.m. And our thoughts are with his family and him as well too, just 17, his whole life in front of him. But there are almost daily accounts of serious injury and death, but also too there is an awful lot of issues for people who have to engage with them to share the same spaces with them, and it's not exclusively in built-up areas either. You will hear stories all the time in Letterkenny, for an example, and there are other towns, don't get me wrong, of e-scooters on footpaths, weaving across roads, accidents waiting to happen and all of that stuff. And it's, as I say, not exclusive to more urban areas. Councillor Micheál Colm Magallan-Asbeg, independent councillor, joins us on the line now. And you've had contact from residents in the Burtonport area, Micheál, concerned about e-scooter use. What are they saying to you?
Martin White, it's Greg. Yeah, I've been contacted a few times from, I suppose, different areas, and no doubt many others have as well. Just kind of around the concerns about e-scooters and the safety of the young ones using the e-scooters. And look, there's nothing worse than somebody, especially my age, coming on radio talking about young ones or teenagers and giving out about them. That's something that I don't like doing. But it's been raised with me a good few times just in relation to the safety and road users, their concerns about e-scooters jumping in and out, scooting across the road, being on footpaths, and, well, the few footpaths that we do have. And their concerns about somebody being tipped or somebody being, knocked down or seriously hurt. And that's some of the concerns that's been raised with me about these scooters.
Yeah, and I get you, because I'm of the same mind. I don't want to certainly label all young people in a certain way or all e-scooters in a certain way. I don't think that's helpful. But we are the grown-ups as well. So it's important to us that if these are now a part of everyday life, that we get the safety message out there, that we reach them and keep them as safe as possible, right? By saying, great. It gives you a wee bit of independence, but this is how you have to use it, or else you could kill yourself or cause a collision that could kill somebody else or knock an older person over or anyone over for that matter. We've a responsibility as grown-ups.
Yeah, there is a concern, and you're right, it's not just young ones that uses e-scooters. There's adults that uses e-scooters for loads of different reasons, because maybe it is affordable for them, not being able to, unfortunately, afford to buy a car, and we all know the high cost, ridiculous cost of insurance and the failure of government to actually even tackle the insurance companies in relation to this, and especially in rural Ireland, where public transport, and don't get me wrong, Local Link has been absolutely brilliant, but at the same time you don't have the same access to public transport as you do in urban areas, and people have to do what people have to do. I've known people that had bought these scooters just to get to work, which isn't ideal, and especially in the winter time. But there is a concern out there in terms of visibility and safety, and I do think it's a conversation that is ongoing and has to be ongoing, and that we need to have on a regular basis, and especially younger generation that mightn't, and we were all guilty of it, that you mightn't see the dangers as you do as you get older, to be way more aware than maybe
the thing
some are.
This is the thing that's a bit complicated with scooters, in that they shouldn't be on footpaths, right? That's not safe. It's not safe for walkers. No. But then the rules are that they should be on the roads. And when you see them on the roads around town, or indeed particularly in rural Ireland, I think they even have a smaller footprint than a push bike. It doesn't seem safe either. That's the problem, isn't it? The footpath, you shouldn't be on them, but we're asking someone who's 16, 17 to be doing 18 kilometres up and down these roads and using the junctions like a fully qualified driver and all. Do you know what I mean? So even the solution to the problem we're talking about feels unsafe.
Yeah, look, like I says, urban and rural area, obviously two different ways of use. We don't have really any footpaths, unfortunately, in rural Ireland, which is really unfortunate, because people would use them if they were built. And yeah, you have country roads and people driving at a certain speed, maybe a higher speed than you would have in an urban area, and you're coming around corners, especially this time of year. Like, we have a high volume of camper vans using the roads now, and geez, before the whole camping van community jumps on me, I'm not giving out about camper vans. And then you have a high volume of lorries in the area, because they're delivering to shops or whatever business they're doing, and going around some of the corners that we have in rural areas. Yeah, it is a concern, and it'd be wrong for us not to say that it isn't a concern. It is a concern, a huge concern, and people are raising that concerns, them concerns with me.
And I think really the first thing we have to do, and it's the same with young people driving or whatever it might be, is education. Right, so there is zero education. You can go into multiple shops right around this county. You can get an electric scooter which I think it can do up to 20, 23 kilometers per hour. There's no training. Yeah, there's no obligation to have a helmet. You don't have to have a helmet, and what have you. So, yet, what are we doing to educate them? Should we be doing scooter classes in transition year? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Not every kid does transition year, but you get where I'm coming from. So what are we doing to sort of, teach the young people the rules of the road in terms of scooters, how to use them correctly, safety gear, risk, etc. We're not doing anything, and I suppose we can't be overly critical of them, and neither you or me are, when we're not really giving them the information. Knowledge is power.
Well, look, it's interesting you're talking about transition year and doing scooter training. If you look at that, most young people strive to get a car, to get independence, so that they have that freedom. We don't even do that in our schools, which I strongly believe that we should be doing that in our school, that it should be assessment over a number of years. And I do think that it would make our roads a lot safer, and not just young ones. Older people have accidents and can be quite careless as well, and we're all guilty of that at times. And I think just that there has to be a serious sit down and a conversation, which I welcome Highland Radio doing this, in relation to this here, and to voice our concerns that, look, not all and everybody that's using e-scooters are responsible, but there are a percentage that they are, and around the safety of it, you named it yourself there, around helmets and that there. But the concerns that people are saying to me, and this is the one that people are saying, you come around a corner, somebody's on an e-scooter, and they're travelling at that speed. And yes, we have responsibility as car users as well. And then there's others, which people, that seems to be the big one for me, is junctions. People absolutely banging out across the road without any taking great heed.
And can I just back up on that? So really, as it stands now, a 16-year-old, the day they turn 16, they can get on an e-scooter. They can go 20 kilometres per hour. They can use cycle lanes, they can use bus lanes, they can go on local, regional and national roads. Now they have to have a light. Yeah, they have to have a light, a bell, an audible warning device. No word about helmets. They don't have to wear a helmet. They don't have to wear protective gloves. And then they also have to obey Gardaí, school wardens, use junctions, traffic lights, road signs, pedestrians crossings, all the same way as a motorist does. They're not allowed on the footpath, so that's, if that were safer, it's not for pedestrians, so they're not allowed to do that. That's with zero training. With zero training, no education, nothing in the schools unless local schools are taking an initiative. I mean, it's great in a way if you were 16 in a day, but it's absolutely crazy. You're literally putting them on the road with the same status as a car, except for motorways and dual carriageways, and limiting them 20 kilometres per hour, and no training whatsoever.
Yeah. And I there, not so long ago, maybe about 3-4 weeks ago, I was in a city, and I was working, but anyway, I couldn't get over the amount of e-scooters that were there. They were hundreds upon hundreds.
See, it's great. They're fantastic. I wish they were out when I was 16. I would have had the time of my life. I would have been heading up to Lahey to the shop and absolutely everything, because I would have had my own motorised vehicle to go 20 kilometres an hour from Mullinasole up to Lahey, get crisps and Coke, back home. I mean, it'd be fantastic.
We have to appreciate the fact that it does give a certain amount of freedom to young ones, and it does allow maybe young ones who are under, parents may be under pressure, working, maybe they don't have access to 2 cars or any car at all, and it allows them, to get to football training, and allows to get them to their friends, or, to study, or to whatever they're doing. And we need to be, I suppose, clear about that there. It's not about condemning them outright, which I just wouldn't agree with. And again, also that adults also use e-scooters, but it's around the safety of it, and that is the concern. That is the concern for a lot of people.
Right. Okay. Listen, thank you very much indeed, Councillor Micheál Colm and Asperg. What do you think? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. And I don't think any of us, we all love our younger people. They are, for the most part, fantastic. But we're expecting 16-year-olds to read these guidelines. E-scooter users must obey the rules of the road and familiarise themselves with the relevant traffic laws and regulations, understanding speed limits, travel zones and other rules that can help to responsibly share the road. Then they go on to say, always check the roadworthiness of an e-scooter before setting off. Again, you could be 16 years of age today. You have to know your brakes are working, your steering's working, your tyres are in good shape, and you have sufficient lighting. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can travel, if you wanted to, from Ballybofey to Donegal Town on an e-scooter. And you could actually be on the outside of the yellow line. Presumably, it'd be crazy to do that, but you could try. I was behind an e-scooterist from Kilmacrennan to Letterkenny, and I was thinking, my word, get on the footpath. It's crazy. But they were doing what was right. That was legal. They shouldn't have been on the footpath, and they weren't. So I don't know. I don't know what we should do. I think it's great. I just think we have to give them a head start, i.e. with education and advice, or maybe even classes that parents can spend €10 on to book their children into for the summer if they're dead set and getting a scooter. That doesn't happen, doesn't it? That could be a business idea for someone. A scooter course in a car park somewhere where they're advised of, safety and encouraged to wear helmets. That I don't think that's done publicly or privately at the moment. I've certainly never heard of it, but it's an option, isn't it? And it gives them the knowledge, which gives them the power.
Jimmer Natasha, Colin Ferreter and Shaw, Biggie Lynn Lahai Rulia Brulia, Cattle Gigi a Huck, Gigi and Nia Clug, Agran Specialta Ihe Kidin Yashaw, La Clarsh or Janet Harbertson, Biosa Studio, Sealer Wahada, La Maya Niari, August na Fiona Oga, Campus Sauri, Ur de Yegori, Araktal Egan Kranog and Idor, Rulia Brulia, Cattle Gigi a Huck, Gigi and Nia Clug, Ihe Kidin Yashaw, Biggie Lynn.
Join Danny and Anya on the home stretch this Friday on Highland Radio, broadcasting live from Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford Strabane, as they celebrate 30 years in business. There'll be exciting prizes, great giveaways and a chance to discover the fantastic dine and screen experience across all 7 cinema screens.
DS Environmental are hiring an Arctic lorry driver. Full Arctic licence essential. Safe pass and manual handling desirable. Competitive rates, steady work and modern equipment provided. Apply by emailing info@dsenvironmental.ie or call 074 91 39522 for more information.
In Japan, we believe that light and shadows reveal the true beauty of space. A space made for you to breathe and focus on what matters. The all-new, all-electric Mazda 6e, up to 560km range. Test drive the new Mazda 6e at McGinley's Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted with Japanese soul.
Carrigart Fest kicks off this weekend. Enjoy 3 days of music, madness and memories at the Carrigart Hotel. Fergal Darcy versus Keith Fletcher on Friday. Bingo Loco on Saturday. Rhythm and Sticks on Sunday. Plus late bar all weekend. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now on Eventbrite or at the Carrigart Hotel reception. Accommodation packages also available.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. From occasion wear to holiday essentials, find everything you need for life's special moments at McElhenney's. Explore our collection of fashion, accessories, homeware and more in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Right, now, some dry weather about, but becoming cloudy with rain and drizzle developing, moving across the region through the morning and early afternoon. Then we'll see more persistent rain pushing in from the west during the evening. Becoming breezy is light to moderate southwesterlies, increase moderate to fresh and gusty and strong at times across the northwest. Highest temperatures today of 15 to 19 degrees. Now, good news for people on the Letterbrick water supply in Clohan, because €1.457 million has been announced to address serious issues there. We are joined on the programme by Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher. I know, Pat, you've been for at least 2 years. I know you had meetings with the then Minister Dara O'Brien a couple of years ago to raise this specifically with him then. So I suppose for you particularly, this is welcomed news.
Well, you're quite right. About 2 years ago, Greg, I was extremely disappointed when Dara O'Brien announced a number of approvals for schemes in Donegal, which did not include Letterbrick, and Letterbrick with 50 households. It's because of the cost and where the water could be sourced from. But on return to the Dáil, I met with the Minister with responsibility, Christopher O'Sullivan, and his officials, outlined very clearly for them that there was only one option, and that was connected to the mains coming from Glenties, Fintown. Now, there were a lot of meetings about this, obviously, between the department and Donegal County Council, and they carried out a very comprehensive study to establish what could be done, and that culminating in yesterday's meeting with the Minister, when he confirmed me that our efforts were successful and that 1.46 million would be approved for the 50 households.
Yeah, up until now, I suppose it's been a mixture of how they've sourced the water, has it? Springs, wells, that type of stuff, all private, obviously, which is, obviously not ideal either, and not everyone would have access to that, or they're trying to tap into a neighbour or whatever it might be. How important is it that, because presumably this will sort of be the end of the line, Pat, how important is it that, the correct pumps and all that are put in place to ensure that they have a consistent, well-pressured public supply? Yeah, well, there's a good supply coming from Glenties, Fintown,
to that area, and I'm absolutely certain, so is Irish Water and the council and the department, that will be more than adequate. But you're quite right, over the years they've had an inadequate water supply, particularly during dry periods. There were water outages lasting for weeks. There was poor quality water, all of that, and it's wrong that people should have to suffer that, but now they will be assured that over the next number of years they will have water quality and pressure as good as in any part of the country. So it'll be a matter now for Donegal County Council. They'll move to appoint consultants and progress the detailed design, the planning and environmental requirements ahead of construction. And there's a good team in the council, and with consultants, I believe that they will put pressure on whoever they appoint to prepare the necessary documents within a short period.
And finally, of course, this story goes all the way back to those who were affected by this and who made the noise and advocated on behalf of themselves and their community. That's really where this all starts to get us to where we're at today.
Well, two individuals there worked very closely with me in relation to this. That's the locals, Eddie Moy and John Gallagher, accompanied by Father Larkin Charkey, the parish priest in Glenfin. So they were in continuous contact, as were the two local councillors, Councillor Patsy McGowan and Councillor Martin Scanlon. So all in all, everyone worked well together. And the advantages of this as well, Greg, for the 50 households, it means that there are locals in the area who would want to build on their own land, and the rural planning guidelines will be helpful to them. But without a good water supply, then they couldn't possibly do that, because they weren't going to revert to the days of wells and poor quality water. So all in all, it's a 1-1 situation for the people of Glenfin, and I'm delighted that I happen to be back in the Dáil and able to pioneer this.
Yeah, so seeing as you mentioned it, and I know you released a press release yesterday or the day before in relation to this, the rural planning, from what we know, or what do we actually know in terms of positive impacts potentially for people either in Donegal or perhaps maybe even want to move here? And I'm thinking obviously particularly rural and Gaeltacht areas. What do we actually know in black and white, Deputy Gallagher, that will change?
Well, of course, as a result of the draft planning guidelines, and that's updating what is there for over 20 years. I think it will be easier for those living in the rural areas to be able to build on their own land, and that there it will be very beneficial. Now, we may have other tweaking to do, and it will take some time. The screening out will have to take place to ensure that everything is in order, that the legislation will be in order over the next 6 to 9 months. But it's going to be advantageous to those living in the areas, or those who might want to return to their home areas to build. So in relation to the Gaeltacht, there will be considerations there as well. And the one question that has been debated on your show on a regular basis is the access onto the national secondary roads. The Minister, while he's not the Minister responsible for the roads and access, James Brown, he has indicated in this that there'll have to be leniency when it comes to access. It's black and white at the moment. If you apply for planning from the National Secondary Road, leaving Donegal, Killybegs, Drag, Lenties, right around to the mountaintop in Letterkenny, the answer is no all the time.
On the N56.
There has to be discretion. Yeah, exactly. There has to be discretion, and there are areas there. We're not saying have access where it's dangerous. We're saying have access where it's safe to do so, and I believe that'll be the next stage in this process.
Yeah, that's really going to be the critical one. Okay, listen, thank you very much for that. That's Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher there. Just want to mention that the Finn Valley Men's Choir are performing their annual concert in the Bala Theatre on Friday night. That's the 10th of July. So that's Friday week, isn't it? Of course. It's for one night only. The performance starts at 8 p.m. Tickets are €15, and this will be a completely new show. There are still a few tickets left still, by the way. So listen, if you enjoyed their last show, you probably, you wouldn't mind seeing it again, but just it's been freshened up. So it's a new presentation for you. If you want to go along and see the Finn Valley's Men's Choirs Friday week, tickets are available through the Balor website at balorarts.com, or you can pay on the door. On the issue of scooters, I was in Dunfanny on Sunday. I saw 2 young people under 10 using the footpath as a play area. I was waiting for someone to get injured. Not a single adult said you can't do that, but did you either? You see, we don't get involved. We sent a video too of cyclists cycling up the 4 lanes into Letterkenny. It really grinds the gears of drivers. There's no point me playing it out. I don't want them to be identifiable, but they're choosing to cycle on the road instead of using the designated cycle lane. Very frustrating for motorists. Millions of euro have been spent on a cycle pathway in great condition from nearly from Carragod into Downings this morning on the way into work. Met a person, fair play to them, out running, but running towards the traffic, even though there's this big, massive, wide, beautiful space. I'd argue an unnecessary risk. I'm not judging. I really don't like judging, but when you've got a what seems like a 14-foot wide footpath, cycle path, and to be running facing traffic on the road, not on a hard shoulder, literally on the road, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It feels like it's rolling the dice on life and death. But anyway, there you are.
Join us this Sunday, 5th of July, at Fawn Marina for the annual Family Fun Day, kicking off at 3 p.m. Enjoy a day of free live music and entertainment, plus free bouncy castles for the kids. Support the local RNLI with our bucket collection on the day. Don't miss it. Sunday, the 5th of July, Fawn Marina.
Shane from Waterford saved big on his car insurance when he switched to Outsurance.
That's right. I saved €192 on my Ford Focus when I made the switch. And with the out bonus, I'll get 10% of my insurance premiums back in cash after 3 years claims free.
Sounds great. For a competitive car insurance quote, call 1800 600 400 or visit outsurance.ie. Real people, unreal savings. Outsurance. You always get something out. Based on a like-for-like policy comparison in December 2025 for a 39-year-old who received a gratuity for their participation. Out bonus calculated less taxes and levies across all policies. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Outsurance DAC trading as Outsurance is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Fly Donegal to Dublin with Aer Lingus. Save time with online check-in and enjoy our low-cost parking at the terminal. Book your flight at airlingus.com today. Visit donegalairport.ie for more information. T's and C's apply.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. €1.457 million has been approved for the Letterbrick water supply project in Cloughan. Deputy Pat the Cope Gallagher says following multiple meetings, Junior Environment Minister Christopher O'Sullivan has approved the funding, which will deliver a permanent solution for more than 50 households that have experienced poor water quality and unreliable supply for far too long. Local councillor Martin Scanlon says the campaign's been going since the 1980s, and this is a very important day.
I don't think there's any words to describe how changing this will be for the area of Letterbrick. For over 40 years there's been a campaign to try and get adequate water services to the area, and finally, after many false dawns, it's eventually been announced. Taking into consideration, the size of this project and the amount of houses involved and the geographics of it spread throughout the area, the cost that was involved, we knew it was going to be difficult, but thank God it has prevailed.
The Environmental Protection Agency says Ireland's drinking water remains safe, but warns the system needs to become more resilient. The latest report shows almost 200,000 people were affected by boiled water or restriction notices last year. 3 of them were in Donegal, with boiled water notices issued for Kildaff and Glanties Ardra, while restrictions were issued for Gorta Hork and Fulcara. The number of public water supplies considered at risk has fallen from 45 to 35, with just 1 in Donegal. The report notes work on the Milford supply was due for completion in June. Eleanor Roche is head of the Environmental Regulation and Compliance at Uisce Éireann.
99.8% of our water meets very stringent EU standards. So look, that's a great news story for us, and we're very happy with that today. In addition to that, we've seen that the number of supplies on the EPA's remedial action list is at the lowest number ever at 35. That number was 121 when Ishgaren first joined the pitch in 2014. So to have it down to 35 is fantastic news for us as well.
The Garda Commissioner says it would be highly surprising if Ireland's 6-month presidency of the Council of the European Union passes without some form of major policing incident. The official opening ceremony of Ireland's EU presidency takes place at Dublin Castle this afternoon before the first major gathering of European leaders and officials gets underway in Cork on Thursday and Friday. Hundreds of Gardaí will be deployed to police events across the country over the coming 6 months. Garda Commissioner Justin Kelly says the greatest security concern is an unforeseen trigger incident which could rapidly escalate.
One of the biggest concerns for us, and we've seen some of these already, is a trigger event. So something happens and then there is particularly on social media, there is all sorts of disinformation put out about it. And we've seen this has led to public disorder here in Ireland. So we're certainly on the alert for that during the EU presidency.
Workers in the cleaning, security and catering sectors will hold a protest in Dublin today to demand better working conditions and decent wages on the first day of Ireland's EU presidency. SIPTU and the European Federation of Service Sector Trade Unions will organise a demonstration outside of the Office of Government Procurement on Mayor Street in Dublin at 1 o'clock. SIPTU says the EU presidency will take the place of the government at the helm of negotiations on public procurement reform, which has a direct impact on wages, conditions and job security for thousands of workers in essential contract services. Solicitors around the country and in Donegal are resigning from the legal aid scheme due to changes to pay. From now, solicitors will receive a single payment for district court criminal cases regardless of the number of court appearances involved. They were paid around €240 for the first appearance and around €60 for each subsequent sitting. Now, regardless of the number of appearances, a fee of €520 will be paid to solicitors. Roscommon solicitor Alan Gallen says is one of those resigning from the criminal legal aid panels.
And the reality is that certainly there are some cases where, let's be honest, 520 would represent reasonable fees for the solicitor if the matter was dealt with quickly on one or two appearances. But that is not my experience in the district court. My experience is that it takes more than one or two appearances.
Looking now to the weather forecast, mostly cloudy this morning with some rain or drizzle developing. More persistent rain will develop during the evening with highest temperatures of 15 or 16 degrees. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with headlines at 11 o'clock.
The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 1st of July. The death has taken place of John Quinn, 19, Cole Hill, Newton Cunningham. John's remains will repose at his late residence today from 3 p.m. until 10 p.m. and again tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 p.m. with rosary both nights at 9. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:30, going to All Saints Church, Newton Cunningham for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in St Columba's Church Cemetery, Dromahol. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Malachi Boyle, Kilclooney. Requiem Mass in St Connell's Church, Kilclooney at 12 noon on Friday, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Charlie O'Donnell, Ballure, Carndonagh. Remains reposing at his home. Removal from there tomorrow at 10:20, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on the parish webcam. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Oncology Unit, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Blaine McCarran, Kelly's funeral directors. The death has occurred of Sally McHugh, née Smith, Ard Connell, Ardra, formerly of Conlon Road, Killybegs. Her remains will repose at McCabe's funeral home today from 3 o'clock until 9 o'clock and again tomorrow from 3 o'clock until 8 o'clock, followed by private removal to her late residence in Ardconnell, which is strictly private, please. Removal from there on Friday morning at 11:30, for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, at 12 noon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. Donations in lieu if desired to the Northwest Hospice, care of any family member or McCabe Funeral Directors. The funeral mass can be viewed on mcn.live. The death has taken place of Freddie McGee, Cochin Derry Begg, formerly of Gola Island. His remains will repose at Rorty's Funeral Home, Derry Begg, today from 3 o'clock until Rosary at 8 o'clock. Freddie's funeral mass will take place tomorrow at 1 in St Columkille's Church, Knockfulla, with burial afterwards in Maharagallen Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director's Facebook page and via MCN Media. Family Flowers only please donations in lieu of desired to the Oncology Ward, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Kieran Rorty Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Bridget Breslin, Upper Main Street, Mount Charles. Remains reposing at Gallagher's Funeral Home, Station Road, Mount Charles, today from 2 o'clock until 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow at 11 in the Church of the Sacred Heart, Mount Charles, with interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family Flowers only please donations in lieu to the Blue Stack Special Needs Centre, Donegal Town, care of Gallagher's Funeral Home, Mount Charles, or any family member. The funeral mass will be live streamed on the Gallagher Funeral Directors and Funeral Home Facebook page. The death has occurred of Jason Cannon, Mina Voy, Ballabafay, reposing at McCool's Funeral Home, Ballabafay, today from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow afternoon at 12:30 for burial in St Patrick's Churchyard, Drumkeen, at 1 o'clock. And the death has taken place of Michael Nicholas, Sapa Muff. Michael will repose at his home today from 12 noon until 10 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in Sacred Heart Church, Muff, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Hello, madam. Are you a member with us?
A member? It's a supermarket?
New policy, all part of our scheme.
Scheme? I just want a cucumber.
We prefer you to be loyal.
Loyal? For cucumber?
If you wanted price lower, then yes.
I'm just making a salad.
Your salad requires your loyalty.
Right, but can I buy the cucumber?
Of course.
Great.
We'll just have to charge you more.
Oh, for...
Aldi don't need your loyalty for lower prices. We offer them every day. Aldi. It's not complicated.
Now, as you may be well aware, rescue teams in Venezuela are now losing hope of finding more survivors of twin earthquakes. This is the twin earthquakes that struck the country last week following hours of exhausting work searching for victims beneath rubble of collapsed building. The death toll has risen. Now to 1,943. But of course, it is going to be much greater than that. The government of acting President Delcy Rodriguez said thousands of others have been injured as a result of the earthquakes and about 16,000 people have been left homeless. Now, there is if I can make an observation, a pattern as to how these stories are covered, in that you hear the first tragic instance of the earthquake. The amount of people that have died confirmed is normally very low, 100-200. Then you get a figure maybe in the low thousands, and then the media seems to turn its attention to stories of hope, which is fine, don't get me wrong. A 3-year-old pulled from the rubble 4 or 5 days later, a woman who survived drinking, water into a tight space for a week, and then the story moves on. So really what the international community is left with is sort of this message of positivity. But the truth is they will have to endure this for years, and tens of thousands of people have died in these earthquakes in Venezuela. Antonio Rodriguez is living in Donegal now for 17 years, originally from Caracas in Venezuela, works in Optum in Letterkenny. And Antonio, my great sympathies for your fellow countrymen. This is an absolutely devastating natural disaster to visit an already struggling population in many cases.
Hi there. Thank you very much for having me here today. Yeah, very saddened for the situation in my country at the moment. Um, a lot of devastation, a lot of people being affected. Yeah, uh, just trying to help from what I can from here. So, as you said, living here in Donegal for 70 years, my second home. But hearing this from Venezuela literally broke my heart. It has affected me hugely, being such a distance from Venezuela and not being able to literally help with my own hands has affected me. And so I just took the initiative to contact charities around Ireland and see which ones has been helping closely with the situation. I have identified a charity from currently working in Dublin. They're a charity called Venezuelan Community in Ireland. I contacted their chairperson called Francisco, and we had a talk about for nearly an hour on the phone, trying to see where we can help. We have already launched an internal appeal within Optum, and we will collect as many funds as we can. And yeah, so I just want to use this platform and this opportunity to spread the word and raise awareness for the people of Donegal. I know that there is a huge or gigantic charitable heart in this county, and people is very generous. So I want to ask the people of Donegal if anybody can contribute towards this cause. There's people over in Venezuela that needs urgent food, water, shelter, and the reason I chosen to help and work with these charities because they have already people on the ground from previous projects they worked. They are the people that would get the help there as soon as possible.
Yeah, we will of course share. We'll share for convenience the URL on our social medias because it's easier for people to click through that way. Antonio, and I think you make such an important point that you're so far removed from your home country that exacerbates things because you're helpless or you feel helpless. You can't do anything, and you are doing great things in raising awareness and also this charity. But what are you hearing from home? Are you able to get in contact with your family, your friends? What are they saying to you about the devastation? Because we're not really, I don't think, getting the true picture of the scale here.
Yeah, so I've been in contact with my mom, dad, few uncles. My uncle, he works for a rescue team. He's in the Hawaii. He's the most affected area from the two earthquakes. Yeah, it's sad. It's devastating. Caracas, many areas were affected. Others not as bad. The amount of people that they're bringing from Hawaii to Caracas is enormous because literally the epicenter where the most damage happened, it's nothing left. There is literally nothing left. So people cannot set camp or a shelter anywhere because there's just rubble lying everywhere. So they're just bringing the people back to Caracas and trying with shelters where they can, but there is also the danger of buildings that are still standing, but in a very dangerous situations of collapsing. So it's not just people that lost their homes from buildings that fell or tumbled. There's literally buildings that are still standing, but people cannot go back to their homes.
And, as I say, the official death toll really doesn't tell the story at all. My understanding is there could be upwards of 50,000 people currently unaccounted for. Now, we hope that for numerous reasons, they have not been able to make contact or can't be identified. But that tells the tale of how devastating this could be if the figure ends up being any way close to that. I mean, it's just absolutely devastating.
Yeah, the death toll, the last time that I saw it was 1,700 people confirmed dead, and the people missing is over 60,000 people still missing, with nearly a week into the time of the earthquake. It happened last Wednesday around 6 p.m., if I'm not wrong. So it's nearly a week now. So the number of dead could basically rise dramatically if hopefully not. Hopefully they're still, because the rescue operations is still ongoing. Hopefully they can still pull people from the rubble and that they are still alive and well.
Okay, my best wishes to you, Antonio, and your family and your fellow countrymen. Though you're part of our country too. Don't get me wrong, but I know that's where that's your first home and where your thoughts lie at the moment. It's VenezuelanCommunity.org. As I say, we'll share that on our socials as well, with a view to seeing how many people can be generous in supporting the people of Venezuela. For now, Antonio Rodriguez, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Look after yourself. Very, very difficult for that young man, and for as I say, you know, we I'm not saying it's by design, but all we're hearing now and all we will hear going forward is, you know, the heartwarming stories of someone being pulled from the rubble weeks on, and the updates on the death toll will stop soon and the news cycle will move on. But my word, there's an awful lot. There's an awful lot for that country to contend with, and obviously you will remember the coverage of the leadership of it and Trump's intervention and an opposition leader who believes she can go in and do a better job and this, that and that. And not to bring politics into it, but politics is responsible for the response. So whatever needs to be done, we hope it is to try and save as many people as is possible.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 1st of July. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €400. The reference number is S13. It's game number 27. The numbers are 48, 51, 58, 40, 37, 59, 73, 83, 8, and finally 68. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com. Shop Homeland's mega deals in store and online. Ninja double stack 9.5 litre air fryer now only €259. Save €30. Save 15% of Royal Canine cat food ranges and 10% of all mascot workwear. All this and more in store and online at homeland.ie. Only until July 21st.
Luxury living begins at the heart of your home, your fireplace. At Spratt Fireplaces, Newmills Letterkenny, we offer statement fireplaces, bespoke surrounds, and a wide range of stoves, including gas, wood burning, pellet, and bioethanol models. No chimney? No problem. We'll help you choose and install the perfect solution. Stylish, efficient, and tailored to your home. Call 074 91 24144 or visit spratfireplaces.ie. Spratt Fireplaces, bringing comfort and style home.
Now, Jigsaw, the National Centre for Youth Mental Health, published its annual report covering last year, and it reveals both record demand for its services alongside a strong organisation-wide response that's reducing waiting times and improving the mental health of young people across Ireland. Dr. Joseph Duffy is CEO of Jigsaw. Thank you for joining us, Joseph. We do appreciate it.
Good morning. Delighted to be speaking to you.
Right. So give me your overview of this report.
2025, I think, was a particularly challenging year. We saw increased numbers of referrals, but also increased complexity. Young people were coming, I suppose, with increased levels of anxiety, low mood, and I suppose a real concern around, I suppose, well, some of the themes that emerged really was a sense of loneliness, a sense of real difficulty in terms of belonging. We've also, during last year, increased our supports into the community in terms of trying to build capacity, and also looking to the work that we've been doing with the Department of Education in schools. And I suppose overall, really what it tells us is that growing demand means that, young people are feeling more and more comfortable to reach out, which is a really good thing. We also know that the support that they're getting is working. We can see those young people who come to Jigsaw, they're feeling better, their mental health is better. If they've set goals, they've achieved those goals, and there really is a good level of satisfaction in terms of coming. So it's a positive message for young people.
Do we have any insight as to what's driving this increase in the requirement for early mental health intervention? Obviously it's fantastic to have Jigsaw there and to see good outcomes from young people that you do engage with. But obviously there are root causes to this. And in your work, can you ascertain either officially or anecdotally as to what is driving this increase in mental health service requirements?
It's a really, really good question. It's something that occupies a lot of our time. And when we look at patterns, when we speak to staff, when we look at the data that we gather ourselves, there's a couple of things that emerges with it. There's a growing sense of anxiety, and it's about what is behind that anxiety. And I think we know that about 75% of young people who experience mental health problems will experience those in the teenage years. It's a time of identity change and formation, and hopefully having a positive transition into adulthood. But there's a really growing sense of disconnection, a sense of economic pressure, how to manage in a fractured world, how to manage with so much digital content coming to young people. When I talk to the clinicians, what they talk about is young people coming in really asking questions about who they are. And that's sometimes around their gender identity, sometimes around their sexual orientation, but sometimes it's on a much more sort of pervasive level of who am I, what am I going to do, who am I going to be, what job am I going to take.
But the problem is I think, Doctor, they're overexposed. They're being faced with questions that really they've no business to need answers for at that age, I think.
In many ways, it's a period of time where it's about exploring, it's about change, it's about testing things out, it's about getting more independence. But I think we live in a world where I suppose particularly adults want more certainty and say, what are you going to do? What career path are you going to choose? And they're very difficult questions to answer. I think for some young people, it's much easier. Some people flow through and have a great trajectory and know what they're going to do. Other young people just need time. And I think it's really important that it's an important time that young people are supported to.
I just find it interesting too, and this is not in any way for either you or I to be drawn into any culture wars or whatever. But the fact that one of the first things you cited is being gender identity, I think that in itself we need to look at as to why that has emerged as a cause for such anxiety amongst clearly so many young people.
I think one of the positive things is that we've helped and supported young people to talk about themselves and how they're doing. And I think it's really important then that we're able to listen to them, to hear what they're saying. There obviously is young people nowadays are exposed to lots of different forms of media, lots of different forms of information. But I also think that it's a key time in terms of identity. So when things are going on or when they get an idea around the wider world, it's important just having a space to be able to explore, to think about that, and to look at what are the things that help young people to feel safe, feel secure, feel connected.
Okay. Rachel White has accessed Jigsaw services. Rachel from Ballybofey. Hey, Rachel, thanks for joining us.
How's it going? How are you?
Good. Now, your story is very personal to you, but it will resonate with a lot of younger people as you work through your teenage years. You notice changes in yourself, be it motivation or your general mental health. What was that like for you? What was it start? What did it start? How did it start? And I suppose, when did you feel that you may need to get some help?
I think it's tough to kind of pinpoint. Things kind of there's a lot of changes that you experience whenever you're a teenager. Like, I came from a really small school into a much bigger one, and there's a lot more challenges that come with that. You're around so many of your peers. There's different kind of, competitiveness.
It's funny, isn't it, Rachel, not got across you, but that transition, you think you know yourself, don't you? Because you're in a class, sometimes it can be of 6 people, and next thing you know, you're in a class of 800 or 900 people. You go, I thought I knew who I was here.
It's mad. Yeah, I had 7 people in my year group, and then suddenly there was, I think it was maybe 120, and it's just, some of them came from bigger schools, and they had so many friends, and it was, you're dealing with friend groups and, being on the periphery of them and trying to even figure out who you are. Whenever you're 13, 14, 15, 16, it's, what do I like? What's cool? What's, all the kind of
and just
things that go in with that.
Rachel, it's kind of a funny age too, because you're in between there, because you're probably still at the age where grown-ups around you are saying, have you got a boyfriend yet? Or don't know whether you should be invited to a visit with Santa or whatever it might be, right? And yet you're sort of maturing and you're starting to understand life a little bit better, and it's a sticky old time when you're dealing with everything else as well. What, in speaking to Jigsaw, how did that help? Is it for clarity, Rachel, or how did it help you work through what you needed to work through at that time? Just to give parents an understanding of what sort of happens in that process.
I think at the time I was really nervous to start going to Jigsaw. I kind of felt all these feelings, and I'd felt that low mood, and it was my mum that had brought me to Jigsaw, and I'm really not sure. I don't know. There was a kind of shame in even going. I was like, I don't know. My mum was like, okay, well, how about we go to one session? You can go to one session and you can see how you feel after it. And I went to that first session, and I went in, and I think sometimes literally being able to talk through everything, and someone who's just there to purely listen, and you don't feel crazy, and you don't feel alone, and you don't feel you've got somebody there who can kind of guide you through your own head. It was a kind of funny way of putting it. But a fine-tooth comb, being like, okay, well, why did you feel like that? To question all these things. Whenever you're in your own head, you're like, well, I feel this way.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, why? Or what's happening there? Or what could that possibly be? Someone who's and the Jigsaw clinicians are brilliant, a brilliant clinician.
Rachel, hold there a second, because just to bring Dr. Joseph back in, doesn't Rachel explain it so perfectly there? I mean, obviously, it's a broad church, and people's experiences are different, but for an awful lot of people, it can often be, in inverted commas, and I can say this as someone who's struggled with my mental health my entire life, and my teenage years were an absolute nightmare, so I can say this because I feel like I can speak from within, that it's not necessarily a complicated process we're talking about, Joseph. It is literally a space, a conversation, a way to unravel that knotted ball of thread, whatever it might be, or however you feel your mind works.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It's and all the evidence and all the research around psychotherapy would say the modality of it, or the school, or the way of thinking doesn't really matter. It's the relationship with the clinician, and it's having a space where you can come in, talk about what the worries, what the concerns are. Talking about that with an independent person who is there to listen, potentially to give you some advice, but really to help you to understand what's going on for yourself. And what we often say is that coming to Jigsaw for a young person, hopefully we want that to be a really positive experience, and they might leave that meeting after getting some new skills, maybe a bit of insight, but also they leave it with the experience of knowing that help is there. And if at some point in the future, in their 20s or 30s, or some of their friends need some help, that they'll know where to go. And that's a really, really positive thing. And we see more and more young people referring their friends, coming back to us when they might have another concern when they're a little bit older. It's a really positive thing.
All right, Dr. Joseph Duffy, CEO of Jigsaw, thank you so much for joining us. And Rachel, I suppose too, it's not about just in that moment, is it? It helps tune you up for your next transition into college, your next transition maybe into rented accommodation in Galway or college or what have you. It's not just in that moment, is it? I suppose, has your interactions with Jigsaw given you maybe more resilience and more understanding of yourself and how your brain works?
I think so. I think it gives you those tools. I think that's what I got whenever I went to Jigsaw, whenever I was 17, I think it was. I'm 26 now, and those tools that I learned still carry forth whenever I'm in a workplace and I'm stressed. Maybe I've got a big presentation and I can feel that like a little bit anxious, but I know I have those tools now and I understand myself better. And it's also knowing, I think whenever you go to therapy for the first time, it's never just like a one and done. Maybe you need to go back I know there's no shame now for me if I need to go to therapy. I know that I could go in and talk to somebody and I know what I need. It's understanding your mental health better. Yeah. And it's tools that you'll use for your life.
Maybe understanding that we never know who we are and we'll always struggle to fit in. I don't know. Maybe sometimes that's that's what makes us special, isn't it? Okay, listen, Rachel, thanks for your experience and just breaking it down into what it is. Actually, sometimes it really is just a simple space. Listen, thanks so much, and delighted to hear you're doing well and everything, Rachel. Look after yourself.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Rachel White there from Ballybofey, who accessed Jigsaw as a 17-year-old, now doing well as a 26-year-old. So just give mums and dads and guardians out there, it can feel, firstly, there's a couple of things going on here. It's incredibly troubling to see your kid, your child, if you feel they're not coping well, because we've also been conditioned, and sadly we hear cases, but we also been conditioned to wonder what might they do to themselves, self-harm, what have you. B, it can also be difficult to put a name on it, like they're struggling with their mental health, because there is still this hangover of, he's mental. People say that and they say it innocently, but my child has got mental health problems. That's a tough sentence for some people to come out and say, because it sounds so big, doesn't it? It sounds like it's just a massive thing, and it is significant, don't get me wrong. So there's that sort of acceptance to sort of say it like that my child has mental health problems, which is okay, because they can be quite mild and can be easily resolved. And obviously there's scales where it's more complicated, I understand that. And then sort of say that they're going to get counselling, like, oh my word, my child's... But it's not really, Firstly, being a teenager is really tough. Secondly, we all have different coping mechanisms and different levels of resilience. B, the mental health thing, in a way, it's sort of been re-stigmatised in a different way, but it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal word. It's not something to be afraid of. And counselling or getting psychological help or whatever it might be is actually really just a medical name for talking to someone. So my point is in most cases it's mild, hopefully, and if you don't sort of get concerned with the stigma that you might have because you're so worried about your child, you can have their experience can be like Rachel's. Maybe I haven't made sense there, but I hope those who perhaps would best need my understanding, get my understanding, if that makes sense.
For families across the West, caring for a child with a life-limiting condition means long journeys and facing the unimaginable far from home. The Sunflower Children's Hospice is being built to change that, the first of its kind outside Dublin, a place where children can be children and families can find comfort, care and support close to home. But we need your help to build it. To donate or find out more, visit sunflowerchildrenshospice.ie. Together we can do so much.
With over 700 everyday savers to choose from, there's always a delicious way to save at Dunnes Stores. Like a spice bag made with Dunnes Stores salt and pepper chicken thighs, just €4.39. Dunnes Stores crisp and golden oven chips and Dunnes Stores frozen mixed peppers, €1 each. And topped with our Dunnes Stores curry sauce, just 45 cents. Plus, save more with your 5 off 25 voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
Hungry for a great night out? Bring the gang to the Woodbury Grill Bar and Restaurant at Arena 7 Letterkenny. Tuck into delicious family favourites, then keep the fun going with bowling, laser quest, darts or pool. Make dinner an adventure at arena7.ie.
Your business can't afford downtime. That's why at iMotors we've got you covered with a range of brand new Nissan commercial vans. Built for reliability, efficiency and the demands of everyday work. Whether it's the Interstar or the Primus Star, there's a van ready to handle your job, all backed by a 5-year warranty for added peace of mind. Ready when you are, built to keep you moving. Visit iMotors today and drive your business forward.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Now, Dara O'Neill, a great advocate for the Irish language, joins us now. I'm sure you are. That's how you'd see yourself, is it? Yeah? Someone has to advocate for it, for crying out loud.
Cheers, thanks Greg for having me on the show. Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't necessarily see myself as a big advocate. I would see myself having a great passion for the Irish language. But it's one of these things I think that nearly we all need to kind of have our own role to stand up and to play to protect the Irish language.
Yeah, so you spotted, and we see this in English as well, it's not unique to Irish, but you spotted a misspelling of Letterkenny on a public sign. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, it first started about a year ago. I actually noticed a spelling mistake in the Manor Cunningham sign. It was spelt as Manlair, New Cunningham. And it always kind of struck me as odd. I was thinking, why was that spelt that way there? I didn't really understand it. And I would be a fluent Irish speaker myself. I would use Irish in my workplace. I would use Irish with the kids. I would use Irish in my home life. So there wouldn't be too many words, I suppose, that I may not be familiar with. And I was surprised by the spelling of this one. I could never understand where it came from. And it was only in doing a little bit of research then I realised it was actually just a misspelled sign, that this was a simple mistake that had happened, but it was up for about 20 years and nobody else had corrected the council on it. So I approached the council and I kind of hounded them. I kind of kept at them. I rang them and I emailed them and I just kind of kept going at them for maybe 4 or 5 months until eventually I contacted Donegal Daily, and then they contacted the council, and as soon as they contacted the council, it kind of spearheaded a bit of change, a bit of movement. So within about a month then, they got the sign changed to the correct spelling. And as I was driving back home one day then, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, back to Newton Cunningham where I live myself, I noticed there was a misspelling on the Letterkenny sign. And I couldn't believe it because I thought it was a once-off, and turns out it wasn't. And since then, I've actually noticed 3 other misspelt Letterkenny signs, one in Buncrana, one in Letterkenny, and one in Burnfoot as well.
So just in relation to the Letterkenny sign, so effectively the only difference is a D instead of an A. Now, is that quite literally the stroke of a keyboard, or is that a misunderstanding of the translation of Letterkenny? Because some of the place names have been anglicised, and we transfer the anglicised names into Irish instead of the original Irish name, and it can be quite dependent on where you are in the place we're at. It can be quite complicated.
Depending on the location, different names have different meanings, and translations kind of change depending on different areas. But what happened with the Letterkenny sign in Newton Cunningham was that in the Irish language, you'll notice that the italics are kind of slanted for the spelling of Irish place names on road signs. Mm-hmm. And to get the A sign, to get the A letter, what they do is they actually use a D, and then they shave off the top. So
sorry for laughing, but go on. It's 2026, but anyway.
Yeah. So what happened there is they used a D and they just forgot to shave off that part. And then in the road sign in Buncrana for Letterkenny, they spelt it CANANINN. So they've got AN in twice where they shouldn't have. So I don't know if that's a misprint or somebody typing on the keyboard wrong, but
I mean, this is important for a number of reasons. Obviously, look, it's embarrassing if we can't get the names of our own places right in the language of the country, the national language, but also to people come here wanting to experience Ireland's culture and would expect road signs, for crying out loud, to be spelled correctly.
That's the way I would say it. Like, on the grand scheme of things, I know this is not a big problem. I know it's not a big deal. Like, I know I was listening to your guest, you were talking about the Venezuela tragedy there. I know there's bigger things at play. But on a small level, like, if we don't show respect to our own language, how are we going to have other people respect our language? How are we going to grow and foster and promote our language if we can't get simple things like a road sign correct? Like, we have people who I work with who come from Australia to come to maybe Gael Idris or Gael Coulter, and they come to learn Irish, travelling from America and from Canada and from Tallaght and Ishk or Newfoundland, and they come to Ireland. If they're seeing these things, they're going to be laughing at us. And I think if we can't protect our own language, it's a crying shame. If the money we can spend on a bike shed or the EU presidency, we can't spend a fraction of that just to make sure we have our own respect and the road signs spelled correctly in our own country. I don't know. I think.
No, you say it's a small. You say it's a small thing on the wider scale of things. Yeah, okay, but it's actually also a small solution on the wider scale of things. So it's all relative, okay? So, you're looking at a new sign or shaving the top of a lowercase d off, whatever it might be. It's not, you're not asking for anything huge either. And you talked about you're the only person that raised it. I guarantee you hundreds of people passed that every day and it drove them nuts.
Possibly.
That's the way it is. Okay. Right. Listen, thanks for that. Appreciate your time.
Cheers. Thank you.
Slan, thank you very much indeed. A caller says, never mind spelling them in Irish. They can't even spell them in English. Kilmacrennan is missing an N. And Illustrin is spelled with an E instead of an I. Is there an Illustrin as well, or is it just wrong? I don't know. I can't get my head around all of that. Let's take a break and see if that helps.
Taste the summer at Super Value. With fresh Irish Housekeepers roast beef, save 33%. Fruit and veg from our Super Fresh 5 like mini bite peppers 200 gram and lemon and lime 3-piece, now 79 cents each. Plus with Real Rewards, Ariel and Fairy Platinum Liquid Pods 44 wash, €10 each. Super Value. Still super, now better value.
Imagine getting the job done without spending cash. Tradeswap.ie is Donegal's newest online community where people swap skills and services. Need plumbing? Offer block laying. Need tiling? Offer photography. Need marketing? Offer painting. Find a swap, agree the details, complete the work and review. Visit tradeswap.ie and start swapping today.
Thinking about a new driveway, patio or garden project this summer? From barbecues in the evening to family time outdoors, create a space that feels right at home. McMonigal Stone supplies premium natural stone for driveways, paths, patios, porcelain paving, cobbles, cladding and more. Family owned for over 50 years, born in Donegal and trusted by builders, landscapers and homeowners nationwide. Visit us at Mount Charles or shop online at mcmonigalstone.com.
McMonigal Stone, created by nature, built for life.
Ready to upgrade your car? At Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town, we've got a great selection of makes and models to suit every budget. With flexible finance option and trade-ins welcome, upgrading has never been easier. Visit ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to see us at Shane Conley Cars, Drumlonagher, Donegal Town.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. From occasion wear to holiday essentials, find everything you need for life's special moments at McElhenney's. Explore our collection of fashion, accessories, homeware and more in store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Okie doke, let's see what the weather forecast has in store for us. And again, we've been sent a weather forecast for all of Ulster, so I'll try and make it relevant to us. Cloudy with rain and drizzle developing across our region, moving through it. Later on, we'll see more persistent rain pushing in from the Atlantic, and it's going to become breezes. Light to moderate southwesterly winds increase, moderate to fresh and gusty strong at times. So get those lobster pots up now, just in case. I'm trying to be niche here. You never know.
That was just brilliant.
Thank you. Right, so the weather is not fantastic here at the moment, but hey, Highland Radio in the Sun takes place March 12th to 18th, 2027. When I was younger, David James, I used to think, like, if you talked about something next year, you were mental. It was miles away. What are you doing talking about? But it comes like that. Next thing you know, especially if you want to sort of, budget for it and all that kind of stuff and plan. Next thing you know, it's August, then it's January, and next thing you're looking forward to going to Sol Principe Torremolinos.
Sol Principe Torremolinos is a beautiful hotel. Good morning to you, Greg.
Highland in the Sun.
Yeah, delighted to be launching this. The reason that we put this together is people were asking us, please put together a trip in the sun. Please take us away somewhere. So we looked at our options. We went and viewed several hotels, and this one, the Sol Principe in Torremolinos that we're going to next May, it's just stunning. A beautiful hotel inside and out. You can see it there in the photographs yourself, and it's right on the beachfront too. So we're going to have a brilliant week.
Yeah, fantastic. So there's back-to-back entertainment over the entire course, but you're still in Torremolinos, and you might want to go out in the morning, or you might maybe take an evening off. the beach is there. Maybe you want to spend the time at the beach, or maybe you want to listen to the great entertainment around the pool. It's all there for you. The choices are there for everybody.
It is. You just go out the back entrance of the hotel and you're on the promenade, you're on the beach, and you can even walk right up into Bella Medina. It's a maybe 30-minute walk up to the marina in there. And we've got it all. We've got a beautiful, beautiful location. I'm going to be there as host of it along with my band. And then to top it all off, we're bringing some fantastic singers out with us as well.
There.
We're bringing out Dominic Kerwin. We're bringing John McNichol, Johnny Brady, Sean Cuddy, Mick Flavin, Sandy Kelly, Keith and Lorraine McDonald. And we're bringing some brilliant Donegal acts as well. We're bringing Jason McCahill, Conor O'Donnell, Grania Gavigan, Shuni Crampsey. The list honestly goes on and on. And then, if that's not good enough, Greg, you're on about getting the Greg Hughes show out. It's on one condition.
Yeah.
It's on two conditions.
Oh, right.
We have daily dance classes, right?
No problem.
Taught by Brady out by the pool.
I will teach, no problem.
And we want you to not only teach, but we want you then at night to get up on stage and sing your version of Rhinestone Cowboy.
As long as Sean Quinn lends me his red jacket, I'll do it.
Well, he's actually not allowed to sing this
by
week. By public demand.
Yeah, okay. I can understand that, to be honest with you. I think it would just be a fantastic. I think it would be a marriage made in heaven. Me dancing, and maybe I might pick a different song, but yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Now, paint a picture, right? So, it's the day after we've arrived, or pick any day for an example. So I get up 8-9 a.m. The sun's shining. Pull the curtains back, and it's just absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I go down for my breakfast. The pool is there. So firstly, I'm with people who are there for a good time. I'll probably end up with friends for life, right? So what happens then in terms of entertainment? So what's happening during the day?
So during the day, you'll get up there.
Now, this is, by the way, listeners, this is just to give us an idea. So you get up.
You'll get up there, you'll head down and have your breakfast. You'll head out to the pool area, which is a beautiful big area with a custom-built stage.
Oh, wow.
Out there will be a dance class, maybe around 11 or 12, something like that. So you'll have your dance class, and then there'll be a little break. Then there'll be live music on the stage for 2 hours with one of our brilliant entertainers.
That'll be sort of afternoon time.
So
you could see... You could see
Sandy
any
of
Kelly
us.
could get up, or you could get up, or whatever it might be. And the band will be there.
We all be hanging around the pool, and we'll get up and do a few songs. We might play a few games, have a bit of fun, and then after that pool entertainment finishes, we'll chill out for a few hours. You'll go down, you'll have your dinner, which is all included in this package, and then you'll make your way down into our exclusive ballroom for our nighttime gala shows, and those shows will last for about 3 hours. Then, when you're finished there, don't be going up the stairs just yet. Stay down there, because then we're going to our late night bar, which is called the Jive Inn. So we're going to the Jive Inn bar.
Is this called all the time?
No, we've named it that for this trip. There's not a bar in Torremolinos called the Jive Inn.
No, I was going to say, well, what a booking.
Yeah, so late night entertainment then in the Jive Inn bar, and God knows what time that'll finish.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're not in Ireland, so who knows, right?
Exactly.
And then you start it all over again. And it's almost like, but in a far more casual way, the fantastic Highland concerts, but it's like it every morning, noon and night, there's so much, and there's such a variety of music in there as well too. I know it's a country show, but it sounds great. There's one thing I noticed here too, and this is no criticism of previous trips. There's a price including flights. Yeah. I would be that person, because if I'm doing this and Highland's looking after me from start to finish, it's fantastic if I can also throw the flights in there, because I want the less hassle possible, right?
Well, Highland trips have a reputation for taking you door to door. So we decided that's exactly what we're going to do in this trip. So we have a package there including flights, and it includes your transfers from right here in Highland Radio. Come up here to the mountaintop, jump on the bus, we'll take care of the rest. We'll get you to the airport in lots of time, then we'll get you on your flight and over to Malaga. Once you arrive there, there'll be another bus waiting to pick you up. And this hotel that we're staying at is literally 10 minutes from Malaga Airport.
Brilliant.
So it's so handy.
So you'd be hefting after getting off the plane.
Oh, sure, I know. We'll be raring to go. It's return flights from either Belfast or Dublin Airport to Malaga Airport. Your return airport transfers from right here at Highland Radio to Malaga Airport.
So it's 1199 including the flights door to door.
Yeah.
For a week.
Yeah.
And what's included there? I mean, obviously you have all the music. Is there any food included in that?
So that's,
surely not.
That is Every night you have your dinner, bed,
included in that
dinner,
price
bed, and
as well.
breakfast, all
Okay.
included. Yeah.
All right, this is pretty good.
It really is. Whenever you think about what you're getting your transfers. You don't have to worry about airport parking. We're going to take you from here in Letterkenny. Now, I must say, we only have 100 places, including those flights. It's the first 100.
Yeah, I get you.
So
right.
you got to get on the ball early with those.
And what's it like socially? So, say for instance, there's there's 2 women, 2 guys, or a couple, or maybe they could be a couple, whatever it is, the scenario. But you know that. They think, oh, we won't know anyone there. Like, we'll be sitting around the pool and it'll feel awkward. Or if we go into the dance, everyone else, because they might know each other or they're more out.
Yeah.
So in terms of I've never been to one of these, right? In terms of the atmosphere and feeling included or making friends.
Yeah.
Is it truly like that where everyone gets to know each other and you make friends for life? And if they're going on the next one, you want to go on it as well. Is that what it's like?
Well, what I'll say is on previous trips that we've done, there are now groups of people who didn't know each other before we went who meet up and have reunions maybe twice or 3 times a year.
Right, okay.
So that's the way it is. If you want to come there by yourself, we're going to take you under our wing and we're going to look after you and give you the best week that we possibly can. And you're going to leave there with friends that you never had before. And that's one of the lovely things about it. You know, there's so many inclusive activities that happen through the weeks. You know, the dance classes, and you'll get to meet people there, and the poolside shows, and we'll have games and stuff there, and then the nighttime shows. So, you know, it really is a great opportunity to meet new people and form new friendships.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to that.
To be absolutely clear now, it's May 12th to the 18th of 2027. There are a limited number of 100 packages whereby it is door-to-door, €1,199 per person sharing. Then there are packages also from 949. So if you want to secure your own flights, is that?
Yeah, look, maybe if you've got family in England or something there that might want to come out and join you for a reunion, or maybe you just want to look after your own flights if that's your thing. You want to go a couple of days early, whatever. So you're €949, and we actually include your transfers in Malaga with that as well.
Of course you do, because it's only 10 minutes. Once you're supposed to do a cartwheel, you've booked a hotel right beside the airport, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Okay. It's brilliant. By the way, look it up. It's called the Sol Principe Torremolinos. Look it up for yourself and check it out, because it really is beautiful.
Right, so 6 nights half board, which means you get your even meal. It's a funny way of putting it, isn't it?
Yeah, dinner, bed and breakfast.
That sounds fantastic to me.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Access to all shows, of course, daily dance classes, which I think there'll be a bit of fun in that as well.
There will, sure. Yeah.
Return output transfers, Johnny Brady, Dominic Kerwin, Sean Cuddy, John McNichol, Sandy Kelly, Keith and Lorraine McDonald, Mick Flaffin, Jason McCall, Conor O'Donnell, Trudy Lawler, Grania Gavigan, Shawnee Crampsey, Jack Larry, David James Band. You mentioned someone else that's not on that list, Jason McCall's.
Yeah, look, we've got loads of people.
In other words, that's just the tip of the iceberg there.
Yeah, we may add more artists to that as well for the crack.
Right, you might even add a really popular morning programme.
Yeah, look, we're in talks with John Breslin there now. Only joking. We're going to have to try and get the Greg Hughes show out.
I think we could do 2, because I think Caroline, we could definitely come up with 2 angles. There's absolutely no doubt about that, isn't it? I don't think I could do the full week, though. All right, listen, that's fantastic. So, is it highlandradio.com?
Yes, so if you want to book, give us a call here at the station, 9125,000. Check out highlandradio.com. We're delighted to be partnering once again with Country Music Tours on this. They're a fantastic Donegal-based travel agent, and they make sure that everything is looked after to an absolute T. But you can book through highlandradio.com or by giving us a call. I'm going to be out here, by the way, for the next 15-20 minutes if you want any information.
And just to be clear, by the way, listen, for some people booking the flights is no issue. And as David has outlined there, you might want to go out 3 days early and play golf or something. But if you are like me, where you kind of say, right, I'm doing this, I want it door to door, I want to be able to look forward to it, put it to bed. €100 flights. There's €100 flight spaces, which is inclusive door to door, literally from Highland to the hotel and back. 1,199, and the gap between the low package and that actually is really quite narrow for everything you get in there. I must say, and I'm not on commission, but I just think, you know, I think things are good when they're priced well and they take the hassle out of it for people. Because you're getting a week away there with
Yeah.
dinner, bed and breakfast and all of... I don't really know how you make money out of this, but presumably the maths work.
It's
Because-
it's real value for
yeah,
money.
it really does look like that. All right. Okay, good stuff. Sinead. 9,125,000. David's going to be knocking about for the next wee while. If you have any specific questions,
Yeah,
or
I'll be on the phones. I'll be on the phones.
The whole team have the deets. And check out highlandradio.com. And as I say, May 12th might seem like a long way away, but you've got one go on this earth. And you know what? If you're thinking about it, just blum and do it. I'm trying to adopt that attitude now.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping me is finances. If I had money, I would really live to that mantra. But
Well, look, Greg, you can pay your deposit today, and then you have 12 months to figure out the rest.
what secures it then?
Okay, so if you want to come on the package without flights, that's €250.
Okay.
For your deposit.
Per person.
Your deposit with flights is €350.
All right, so if I put down $350 now, I've got the all-inclusive package, and that what does that leave? 12. That leaves about $850 for me to cover over the next few months.
It's for nothing really.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you won't spend much on that holiday.
Yeah, definitely not.
It depends how much time you spend in the Jive Bar.
In the Jive Bar, that's where it all goes south, Greg. That's where it all goes south.
Or north. Or north. All right. So the deposit again, someone's just asked $250 for the $949 package, getting your own flights if you want to sort of extend your holiday, go 10 days or whatever it might be. Obviously, the accommodation is fixed as part of this package, but you know where I'm coming from. I'm sure actually you probably could call the hotel. But anyway, don't want to confuse it. Door to door, full service, 1199. Deposit is
$350.
All right.
Yeah.
Listen, brilliant stuff. It's going to be fantastic.
For sure.
And that's where we leave it on the show today. 0749125,000, by the way. Get in there. Get that 100. Get those 100 seats. I would advise if you can. That's where we leave it on the show today. That would cover a Christmas present, anniversary. Wouldn't it? Everything.
Great one.
All right, lads, get to it. Back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock.